Hi, welcome to Tekolama Music, where we are continuing to discuss the African musicology. In this segment, we are going to discuss the architecture of harmony in African music. It is a strange thing to talk about harmony when talking about African music context, because generally we are taught that African music is unison. But let's delve deep into it and see how this unfolds. In Western music theory, harmony is often described as simultaneous sounding of two or more different notes, understood mostly or primarily as vertical structure, that is, chord stacked above one another. In Africa, however, this is not primarily conceived as vertical stack of sound. Instead, it emerges from linear interaction of independent melodic line. Harmony is not treated as central objective though. It is like two or more people who are walking their melodic journey and they bump into each other in the consonant points, and that's harmony is created. It is not primarily what is intended, but yes, that is what it is. It's creating harmony. Harmony in Africa is just an extension of the melody. When we talk about it is extension of melody, we are going to study it, for example, in singing, in folk song in Africa. We already discussed African language as tonal language. That means that even if we talk about the melody, even if we talk about the harmony, the voice or the line that is harmonizing the main melody must also adhere to the same rules of the language. If the language requires a certain word to have a rising intonation in the harmony, that still works. That is where we come with something to do with parallelism in African music. Sometimes we are guided not to use parallelism in Western harmony, but in Africa, generally we'll find ourselves doing it. Kwabenan Ketia urges us that Kwabenan Ketia teaches us that harmony in African music is fundamentally an extension of melody, because many African languages are tonal. Harmonic movement must respect linguistic meaning. The harmony is not the main thing, it's just a result. And now it should follow what the language requires. Therefore, we are going to say the harmony just grows out of the melody. The melody grows from the language. And from this, we are going to talk about factors that shape the harmony. Factors that shape harmony in African music. The first factor that we are going to discuss, is the call and response. Call and response is the most common style in African folk song. This is where we are having a lead, or we can call them the soloist. We are having the soloist calling, and then we have a response from the response team. How do we achieve harmony? Is it planned in call and response music? No, this is not planned. This is how it happens. There is something in music called overlapping. This is where the soloist comes in before the response team finishes their line. And that interaction creates a layer of sound. That one causes what we call harmony. It's just an incidental harmony, but it is harmony that we need to recognize as part of the harmony. In addition, the soloist might add improvisation while the response team is singing. In Western music, we can call this adding ad-libs, where response team is singing the chorus while the soloist is interjecting above them, maybe a third or a fifth above them. This creates harmony in African music. Another factor that we are going to talk about is parallelism. Parallelism in many African communities employs parallel singing as natural harmonic practice. Voices move together in agreed intervals. For example, in the Central and Western African music culture, they have natural harmonies like parallel thirds and parallel fifths, sometimes even fourths, that they move in parallel and creates very nice harmonic motion in the music. The parallel motion creates a simple yet rich harmonic sound, one that preserves the integrity of the language while producing a stable harmonic texture. The moon is just clear, direct. There is nobody who sits somewhere and starts calculating or start thinking, now let us have chord 1 here. You don't think about the chord progressions. In Africa, you don't think of harmony as a vertical idea. You think of it as a linear, as an horizontal happening. Every melody is making sense on their own. Another one that has to do same with intervals or the parallelism is the unison singing, which is generally what our music is made of. But how do we maybe achieve harmony using the unison singing? Different groups, different gender, sing in their own octave. You know, what the men are able to sing, you know, the same range as the ladies. Ladies are going to sing an octave above the men, and that also gives us a sense of octave harmonies, bringing it if you add other aspects like maybe a third that has been added by another voice, naturally in those voices, we create harmony. Thank you for staying with us in Tekolamo Music, where we are going to continue delving into the African musicology. In the comment section, tell me which topics would you wish that we study in relation to African music. Which aspect of African music? We've talked about the melody, we've talked about the rhythm, we have talked about the harmony. Which other aspect do you need us to reveal to you how it works in African music? Otherwise, have a nice time. See you on the next one. Thank you.